In the event that we are, welcome everyone that is on this live. I don't see the chat to the right. Let's see. Oops, I don't want to go to the settings. Um, where is the chat? Oh, there it is. Chat. Oh, awesome. All right, cool. Do you guys see the chat to the right?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Only I could see it?
I mean, it says messages from audience will display here. So if someone writes a message, I can see it.
Okay.
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there we
Yes,
go. Someone
Joanna said
jumped in.
hi.
Hi, Joanne. Welcome, welcome.
I have no chat.
You
I
have no
don't have
chat?
a chat either, but I'm not surprised.
Welcome, Galactic Jedis. I told you guys I was going to have a surprise. Well, as you guys know, this is Dr. Sandra's return. This is her second visit here on my channel. So excited. For those that don't know who she is the genius behind this amazing technology that we're going to be discussing today, that she actually invented in 1978. But as you guys know, the powers that were tried so hard to suppress it for many, many years. But luckily now, because the white hats are in control, all this technology has finally been available to the masses. Thank God. So for those that don't know who she is, Dr. Michael's lifelong award-winning work in applied integrative biophysics has earned prestigious recognition, such as presidential and international. And Who's Who is that a magazine?
Who's Who? Yeah, it's recognitions of
Okay, I see.
Who's Who organizations.
Okay, cool. Lecturing at the United Nations. Wow, pretty impressive. MIT, the World Health Summit, the Harvard Club, London's Royal Society of Medicine, Mount Sinai Medical School, the Scalar Research Experts Conference, Tesla Tech, regenerative technology, and anti-aging congresses, as well as numerous medical schools and ministries of health worldwide. Knighted for her humanitarian services, Dame Dr. Michael has served on the board of the Global Foundation for Integrative Medicine and as a commissioner to the International Tribunal for Natural Justice. She's also recognized as a kahuna. Dr. Michael is featured globally in a variety of books, newspapers, and journal articles, including a peer-reviewed University of Hawaii study on seizure disorders and autism. Her true bioscalar EE system technology has been broadcasted widely on radio and TV and seen on CNN, Fox News, the doctors. That's fascinating. So, I mean, that's pretty much.
It just shows how old I am, okay? I turned 70 this year. Okay.
The truth of the matter, doctor, is that we never age, all right? We're always young at heart. Wall Street Journal and Beverly Hills Times, plus being featured in a documentary called Revolution Healing, Humanity Beyond the Speed of Light. And then also with us, we have Concetta, who is my galactic sister and member of the Guardian Alliance Emerald Order, my sister from another mother. Welcome, Concetta. And she's actually been a holistic practitioner and healer for many years, even before she opened up her own centers, excuse me. She's got more than one center, guys. So Concetta is a seasonal spiritual quantum healer and proprietor of 12. Oh, no, I'm sorry, of 2. I'm speaking in terms of the future. You're going to have 12, by the way. It's been prophesied, all right? It came in for a reason. Of 2 EE systems locations, bringing over 2 decades of expertise in natural healing. Her journey has empowered thousands to embark on transformative life paths. So of course, the EE system is the Energy Enhancement System that combines body, mind, and spirit and science to help you achieve peak performances and reach higher states of health, consciousness, and self-actualization. And then over to her left, we have CHELSA.
I'm like me.
Hi, CHELSA. One second. Let me see if I could. Oh, there we go. I'm trying to exit off of. Okay. So CHELSA Bruno is a physical therapist and owner of the Energy Room in Boca Raton, Florida, which, by the way, I had an event there and it was very successful. Not to mention, I had an event at Smithtown where Concetta has her New York center. And then, of course, in Naples, Florida, where she has her second center. And all of these events were amazing, beautiful people that were there. Good turnouts, by the way. So CHELSA has a center in Boca Raton. She began her holistic journey when she was sick in her 30s. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that. She turned to essential oils and healthy eating. She got involved with EE System 3 years ago to improve her own health. She is loving seeing the results of herself and her members. Oh, that is so generous. That's awesome. It's fascinating how we have how sometimes we have a life-changing moment when we are ill. When we are ill, all of a sudden it's like the universe strikes us, boom. Obviously Western medicine is a joke, right? We could all admit that. And so let's start with CHELSA. Tell us about what happened and what inspired you to open up your own center.
Oh, wow. That's a great story.
Dr. Sandra knows, and Concetta, both of these guys are very dear friends of mine for many years. So basically, I was in my early 30s and I got really sick. It was almost like something like switch went off and my body just was shutting down. I wasn't able to tolerate eating any foods. I was very, very, I'm small. You guys can't see in this video, but I literally soaking wet, maybe weigh 110 pounds. But at that point, I was down to like 80 pounds. I was very, very sick. And kind of what you mentioned, Ishmael, is that I went the, Western route. And I was on all the medications, had all the testing done, and literally nothing was helping me. And kind of like what you said, that I had that aha moment that if I don't make some major changes in my life, I wasn't going to still be on this earth, on this planet, right? Like it was that realization that my kids were babies and I need to make a change. So that's when I really started going on this holistic path. And that's what, I started getting better. I started recovering, but I still had this like up and down, battle where I'd be good, then I'd have a flare up. I'd be okay. And it was an autoimmune issue. That's what they ended up finding out I had. And back in 2020, when the world was going crazy, my good friend actually came to my house because my leg out of nowhere was swollen. And it was right at the beginning of the pandemic. And I'm like, I'm not going to doctors. I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not doing any of this. And my friend came over literally with these things that you see us all wearing, these medallions. And she's like, listen, CHELSA, we're going to wrap this around your leg and see what happens. And I'm like, anyone other than me would probably be like, she's out of her mind. And I'm like, no, let's do that. Because at this point, I already had started my journey on doing things holistic and healthy and natural. So I'm like, all right, let's put some crystals on my legs. So she wrapped up 2 of these medallions on my leg. I kid you not, I was at that point, it was like a cellulitis. My leg was super swollen. I was on crutches. Within, I would say 10 minutes, I literally got up and started walking. And that's when I had that aha moment of, all right, what is this for real? Like, what is this? What is going on? And if this could do this to my leg, that for 2 weeks I struggled with this inflammation on my leg, I must have got bit by something. Concetta, you remember that too, because I remember calling her saying, what am I going to do with my leg? And then when I had this response, I said, you know what? I said, if this medallion that holds the frequency of the system. So the system that you see behind Concetta's video there, it holds a scalar frequency. And Dr. Sandra's going to get into all the magic behind it. But I thought to myself, if this little medallion has all that energy and can literally get rid of this inflammation I probably should have been on antibiotics. I should have had IV antibiotics for cellulitis. And these medallions literally changed my life. So that's when I told my husband, who is, he accepts me for, my beliefs, but he's a union electrician. Let's just leave it at that, right? So he's not a galactic, person per se. But I remember telling him, please, babe, I need to get this system, because if these medallions can literally get rid of this inflammation and save me from the hospital, from these antibiotics and drugs, like, what can the system do for my health? And that's when I decided to get the system in my house in New York. That's how I started. And literally, thanks to Dr. Sandra and her team, they came during the pandemic. Can you imagine when everyone's going crazy? Here I am, like, let's just get this, EE system in my house. And Concetta and I both got them installed that same weekend in August of 2020.
Wow.
And literally, I have to say that this system is what totally got rid of my autoimmune issue. Hands down, I have not looked back ever since. I've been on 0 medications. They told me I'd be on medicine the rest of my life. It's absolutely incredible to have my health back, literally from having the system in my house and just being in this energy consistently. And then I moved it to Florida, but that's another story.
Wow, how inspiring is that? That's amazing. So basically, you and Concetta were the OGs of these centers, right? So you guys were the first ones to open up the centers?
On Long Island.
Long Island? Okay, in Long Island. Okay.
Yeah, the technology's been all over the world, literally.
Oh, I see. So in New York, you guys were the first ones to open up the center.
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. That's great. So, Concetta, tell us about your story.
So, that same weekend,
Mhm.
CHELSA calls me and she's like, "You have to come to my house right now." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "I bought you something." She's like, "And I don't know what it is and I don't understand it. The only one who's going to know what it is you. You need to come here." Now, CHELSA lives almost an hour away. I did not want to make the trip, but I did. So CHELSA bought me a medallion, a rose quartz medallion, and a rose quartz bracelet. So I'm like, "What is this?" I'm looking at it. I put the bracelet on. I'm like, "Oh, all right." I really didn't feel the zing from the bracelet that I did the medallion. I put the medallion on and I was just like, "Whoa, what is this?" So she's like, "I don't know." And she's like going on and on and on about what she thinks it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, "All right, I'm going to call this lady." So I hang out for a little bit, go back to Smithtown, and I call Dr. Sandra. And at that time, Dr. Sandra was readily available to the public. So her daughter answered the phone. She's like, "Yeah, I'll pass you to mom." And I think it was 4 hours later, right, Sandra? At least?
I
At
don't know.
least 4 hours later, I was in total love. And I'm like, "Sign me up." So it was at that moment that after, this 4-hour conversation that I ordered a system. I called my husband. I'm like, "Guess what?" She's like, "Wait, can I get home from work first?" So I didn't let him get home from work, ordered the system. And I think a week later, her son Michael flew in and installed the system. And this was August 2020. And Dr. Sandra and I spoke the same language. She did a lot of the work that I do now many, many years ago. So the EE system was her level up.
Mm-hmm.
And what an amazing level up it was. So I got the system to incorporate it into my practice for my clients and, for us, for my family, because it does, create that vortex around the entire house and neutralizes and transmutes all detrimental frequencies. So it was, multifaceted for me. And I have to tell the story about the phone ringing, Sandra. So I have 4 towers, and Sandra's son and I started at the far left, and then we came here programming, then behind me, and then this last one. So we put all the codes in the last one, and no sooner he let me do, like the last tower. No sooner did I push the last button, his cell phone rings in his pocket. And it was Sandra. My cell phone was upstairs on the kitchen counter. We didn't know yet that she called me first. As soon as I hit that last button, she knew that her babies were powered up on Long Island. And remember, Michael was like, "Yeah, Mom, they're up, they're running." She's like, "I felt them."
Yeah.
Energy is energy. So yeah, it's been in my practice for the past 4 years. A couple of months later, so this was just for my private clients, and then a couple of months later, Sandra asked me to be, like a New York contact. So then I opened up to the public, and people would come in and out, just whoever wanted to sit in the system. And what else can I tell you? Miracles. We see tons of miracles. the gamut of miracles: mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. One of one that really sticks out to me, and I try my best not to get, I don't want to say connected, because that's not the right word, but if I took on everyone's baggage who walks through my door, I'd probably be in a funny farm. So I try to stay connected, and I guess disconnected at the same time, just to not take on everybody else's, stuff. But this one gentleman, his son and my son had to carry him down the stairs in his wheelchair. He was hysterical, funniest guy. He cracked jokes for 2 hours. It was a great session. And his 2 hours were up, and his, son came over with his wheelchair, and he's like, I don't need that. And we all looked at each other like, well, what do you mean you don't need that? A hand to God. He walked all the way up the stairs, out the door, and to his car without his wheelchair. And that was one of these sessions where I couldn't not cry. Tears literally like rolling down my face. Now my son is upstairs. He remembers 2 hours prior, carrying this guy down. He turned white. Like, did this guy really just walk out of the house? So that was a big one. That was a big one that will always, forever stick out in my memory. And, the little things, just people saying, I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
In this day, with everything that they're bombarding us with, who can really say that they feel good? But people leave here saying, I can't put my finger on it, but I feel good. And that's why they want to keep coming back to get that boost, to get that charge, to get that quick raise in frequency. And, working in the healing realms, I guess you can call them, for over 20 years now, the EE system has absolutely 1,000,000% supported my work, enhanced my work, and even has taken the load off of my work. It's almost like when I'm working on someone, I can step back a little bit and just let the energy take over, and not worry about, oh, is that enough? Is that, too much, too little? It's a coherent flow. And I am forever grateful.
Wow, that's a beautiful, beautiful story. I have a question. So the gentleman that was in the wheelchair, how long was he sitting in the room with the energy system? Like, how long
2
did it
hours.
take? Just for two? So you're telling me that
2 hours.
2 hours he was able to get up and walk?
First session, first time I met him, he came with his 2 sons. And the reason why only one son could help carry him down is because the other son was injured and, had a little cane or whatever. 2 hours. I'm telling you, my son was white like a ghost.
And I met your son, and he's not really into this. He's kind of like
He
still,
deals.
yeah,
He deals.
exactly. Yeah, some
At
people are
18,
believers, and some people are still
right,
kind of like, they question things.
right. And, this is all they know. This is my whole life. But he deals. Mommy is definitely nuts in his eyes.
Well, you're definitely not. You do have amazing spiritual gifts. You are a strong empath, and that explains why you pick up on people's energy fields, and why you need to, protect yourself pretty much, and
Mhm.
why it's very beneficial for you yourself to be, immersed in such healing systems, at least, around the healing system, because it keeps you calm. Would you say it keeps you
Yes.
centered? It keeps you
Mhm.
sane. Now,
Absolutely.
I was well aware of it healing people on a physical level, as far as being the ultimate anti-inflammatory, causing the body, it's causing the body's own healing abilities to, fast forward and stuff, and regenerate faster than normal. But I didn't know that it actually helps with people's mental, if they were to have mental disorders, it kind of brings that back to balance as well as
Absolutely.
emotional. Wow. So it's a healing system for not just body, mind, and emotions as well, right? All
And
around.
spirit.
And spirit.
I mean, and spirit is a whole other level. at least I think, and in my experiences, you know, you want to blast your gifts light years. You want to, you know, go deep, way, way, way deep in meditation, in channeling, in connection. There's nothing better. There's nothing better. This
And
is like my little Arcturian healing chamber.
and I attest to that,
We
guys.
can't say that.
I was there for what, 3 hours in your house, and she has it all over her house too, not just in her 2 centers, guys. By the way, she has the system in her house. All right, that's how powerful this stuff is. And no kidding, guys. After 3.5 hours of being there, when we did our event, I felt a lot better. I felt like I had more mental clarity. You know, earlier that day, I was getting palpitations, heart palpitations, anxiety, a little chest pain. I don't know why. Perhaps I'm eating a lot of cholesterol. And all of a sudden, you know, I didn't feel that anymore after that. And I was like, oh my God, everything's back to normal. So I did notice the difference. And that's just 3 hours of being, you know, in the room.
Do you remember sitting down and you were like, who brought the dragons?
I do remember. Yeah, it does enhance whatever spiritual gifts we have, guys. It's like, you know, on steroids. It enhances them.
And when they walk out of the system, Concetta, right? When they walk out, they have this glaze over their face, and you're like, yeah, they just got their world rocked. As they walk out, you could tell it's like they're floating on air as they're walking out of, you know, the center.
I don't know where I just went. I don't know what just happened. I started leaving chocolate because they were leaving all stunad and like out of whack.
So when was it when you guys first heard of Dr. Sandra Rose Michael?
2020.
That's when you guys first discovered her. Okay.
Was that
August, right? August.
Was that with the webinar I did with Jihan?
Yeah.
First, or yeah. Okay.
And Dell, right? I think Dell was on the same webinar, I think. Were you guys together or no?
I did one of the webinars with Jihan. We did with Dr. Terry Shintani.
Yes, with Shintani as well.
The professor, MD, JD, MPH, that we have our peer-reviewed published studies with. And that was the first time he'd ever done a webinar, I think. But that was a gift of COVID. We all learned to Zoom.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think the plan DEMIC, right? Or DEMDMIC. I don't know if I spelled it like, but that event, I think, is what really caused a mass awakening. I think that's when people really started to wake up to what's really been going on. Would you guys say? So in a way, it worked in our favor. You know, they were expecting it to work in their favor, right? To implement the Great Reset. But it's like, here we are, man, more awake.
And it forced people, I think it forced people to start to seek and, you know, look for other modalities of healing because certain things weren't working.
Well, everybody was questioning. Everybody was home and they were starting to dig and research and go, what's going on really? And everybody started at least opening up. And instead, you know, the Great Awakening will not be stopped. We've waited a long time for this time on this planet. As you know, we've waited a long time, 26,000 year procession of equinoxes, all kinds of stuff. And we're in this turning of the ages, and this is the time we've been waiting for. And I've been teaching over 45 years now, the holistic health every which way and all the abilities, but we needed to develop the technology that could support everybody in their greatest light, their greatest life, their greatest life force energy, their highest potential of our DNA and our divine design. And that's what the technology is about.
Somebody in the chat is saying we need this in Canada. Yeah. So are there no centers in Canada yet?
Yeah, many centers, more going in. People can go to eesystem.com to find the locations nearest them, or especially go to unifiedhealing.com, UNIFYD, unifiedhealing.com. Because, and that's when I did the interview with Jason Shurka. That's when that cell resonant message went out to the planet that everybody was ready to. And this was just May 27th of 2022. So you were the early adapters during COVID with the bringing it to people and sharing it. CHELSA in your basement, and and Concetta in your basement, but sharing it with the people. And now you're both sharing it with more and more people. But you were because primarily we had 20 some centers all over the world at that point. But before that, because it was really this technology was really brought forward in 1996. And the first clinicals were 2001 with the John Hopkins trained oncologist and all the miracles that he was seeing. And so research with NASA on the DNA and all that kind of stuff. So lots of research, lots of homework, lots of miracles. That's why we created it. Because I'm a hands-on master healer, really. I started with chiropractic, reflexology, nutrition, Ayurveda, all that kind of stuff back in 1971. So, and with the total connect to spirit, with that total life mission of how do we heal the world? How do we bring healing to this world? We've got a whole planet, that needs, that needs help. Okay, God, now what do we do? How do we bring healing to the masses, to the world, not just to the individuals for their individual healing, although it's really designed also to bring every healer to your highest potential, what you could be and should be doing. Bring all your innate abilities, all your psychic abilities, all your healing abilities, all your awarenesses to our highest potential as sons and daughters of God, our highest potential of who we really are, because we're connected to the infinite innate intelligence. We have access to unlimited power, infinite intelligence, unconditional love. So what's the problem? We've forgotten how to access it because we're being bombarded 24/7 with the EMF, ELF, radiation, microwave, the toxins in the air, the food, the water. So how do we let the body go back into that space of 0 point, dynamic homeostasis, balance, right-left brain synchronization for your ideal optimal meditational states? That point of balance where then you have the energy to respond to all the stressors appropriately, rather than being stressed out by everything and pulled out of balance. So, it's about this dynamic homeostasis, or bringing balance, right? Left brain balance, bringing that balance to the beings so that we can be fully present here on earth as it is in heaven, with all of our gifts, with all of our galactic connections, because I've been a contactee my whole life as well. So with our cosmic origins are very, very important. And so because it's about bringing our DNA to the highest potential, what it was designed to be, which is the 12 strands of DNA rather than just 2, right? You
Absolutely.
talk about that too, don't you? I think.
I do. Yeah. In my book, I kind of break everything down, the whole cosmic story and how it all relates to everything that's unfolding, during these great unprecedented times that we are now living in. Now, one of the things I'd like to remind everyone of is the fact that this is not a new technology, Doctor. Would you agree that this is a technology that existed perhaps during the golden age of Egypt, during Atlantean times, and how really it's just been resurrected, or rather restored through you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can talk specifically about Atlantis. I can talk specifically about Egypt as well, because my mother was fissioning plutonium in the labs the whole time she was pregnant with me. I was conceived at Tesla's power plant, and two top secret government scientists. But my mother was literally working on the bomb the whole time she was pregnant with me, and I come in going, how do we heal all this? But from the time I could talk, I was talking about Atlantis, and I was still pissed about the abuse of power. And, the mad Atlantean scientists and their abuse of power. And so that's what I came in talking about, because that's the most parallel time to now. The most parallel time to now. And
Exactly.
to me, computers were the beast. I mean, it was like, didn't want to go in a room with them because I was so acutely aware of the abuse of power issues and what was being done with HARP and mind control, MK Ultra, all these different things. And I'm going, how do we, so I was basically asking God, now what do we do? And they said, you have to create the technology to create the counterpoint to all the abuse of power, to override it with a higher power, the power of love. Literally, the power of love. It's a higher power to override all the detrimental, destructive energies with a higher power of love. So it's talking about Atlantis, and yes, they had the abuse of scalar there. All the same stuff that you see the mad scientists have been trying to do, hijacking the DNA and creating chimeras, all these different crazy things, but weather warfare, all these different things, biological warfare, all these different things. It was what they were doing in Atlantis before the destruction of Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like taking Atlantean technology, but with the power of love to override it. Because I was high priestess of a healing temple trying to stop what they were doing in Atlantis. And I came in this most parallel time to that. But it was also, with the ships, it was what we called the recalibration chambers on the motherships for putting the DNA back to its original divine matrix, the original divine design. So I was asked to recreate what was on the ships. And I'm going, you want me to do what? This is in the early 90s. Hello, you got the right channel. I'm blonde here. I'm a healer. What do you want me to program computers to generate fields of consciousness to heal the world? Okay, God, you want me to do it? I'll do it. But I had to figure out how. But I agreed. And so within a week, I was on it. I knew exactly what was to be done. But it was like, when am I going to do create the counterpoint to HARP and all the abuse of power and all this with what? Shoestrings? So it's been a journey, because my mastery was as really a healer. So yeah, but I did build my first scalar healing light chamber in 1978 after all kinds of experiments and research. And I began in the early 70s with radionics and Rife and photons and all the varieties of energy healing. And so this is an ultimate expression of that. And it interfaces directly with the DNA, because the core of the DNA is the light. Literally, we are beings and bodies of light. Prime function of DNA, storage of photons. Right? So this literally activates the light at the core of our DNA. And that radiance, our pure radiance of our being, our light and our connection to light is so powerful, reminds us of who we really are as powerful, limitless sons and daughters of God. Christ said everything he did and more were to do. And so we love the miracles. So this gives the body, gives people the energy to live their greatest life, their greatest, highest potential, gives the body the energy to heal itself.
Absolutely. Now, I want to make something very clear here, and I replied to certain people. There are a few people that are skeptical and believe that the EE system is working off of AI, and I completely disagree with that. Doctor, can you just clear the smoke here and let everybody know that there is no AI involved here?
There's no mechanism for that. It's not networked. It's not online. It's not there. We're using the computers as a field engine generator to generate fields of consciousness, literally. Then the key code is all about alignment with true, best, and highest. And it's actually literally that experience and that transmission of being aligned by the light, with the light, and as the light, and highest powers of love here on earth as it is in heaven, through us now. It's the counterpoint to all the abuse of power and all the craziness. We need a divine intelligence, not artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I strongly agree. Yeah. Living biointelligence. And
Yeah.
when you think about the light is also organic.
Yes.
It's the photonic version of the bio being the particle version of light. It's
Yeah.
almost the same, right?
Photons being quantums of light.
Exactly.
Biophotons is our living light source, life force energy. You know, like Jedi's. I mean, that's our coherent lightsaber. You know, it's coherent light. Laser means coherent light. Well, we're meant to be coherent, you know, aligned by the light, with the light, as that light and highest powers of love. But I'm going to be in Florida, you know, at Mel Carmine's in Cape Canaveral, and Dr. Lily Botchus is going to join us there. And she wrote some of the original white papers. People can read those on the research page at eesystem.com. She wrote some of the original white papers about our technology. Oh gosh, back in 2002 or so, or 2000, back in the day. And then she wrote this book, Awakening the Holographic Human. Beautiful, fabulous book. Took her years to write, and working with our technology for so long. She's going to be joining us with Mel Carmine in Cape Canaveral. But the chapter of her book is chapter 8, which is the infinity. You know, that scalar vortex is the infinity. Higher technology for higher consciousness, the birth of bioactive techno-intelligence. And so it's an amazing chapter, lots of brilliance, but it actually talks about that, how this is absolutely, you know, I was told somebody had to create the counterpoint to all the agendas that they've been trying to play here. But the Great Awakening will not be stopped.
Exactly.
And you know that, and we know it. You know, this is the turning of the ages. It's new heaven and new earth through us. We're here in the fulfillment of all the prayers, all the promises, all the prophecies of all who've gone before us. It's all in our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And that DNA, as you know, was seeded from the stars. And the core of the DNA is the light. It's the stuff from the stars. That is the pure physics. And we just want to activate that light that's within us. Because as we then radiate our light, nothing that is not of the light can affect us.
And that is when we are in our divine power, fully, untouched.
Love is our higher power. Awareness is our power, but love is our superpower.
Well, that's the underlying field that holds everything together in existence.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Now, we did hear from Concetta this amazing testimony regarding this man who couldn't walk, and after 3 hours of being immersed in the energy system was able to get up. CHELSA, can you think of anybody that was like, what was the biggest miracle that you witnessed based on your own experience with your center?
Oh, she had so many miracles in her basement that now she has a big center. You can't even begin to track. I was there. I went, remember, I showed up at your center, and it was like masses of people. I mean, you know, that all wanting to tell me their miracles.
Literally. But I have to say, one of my favorite stories is exactly what Dr. Sandra said, was from my house in New York, where my neighbor, she lives 2 houses down. It's my kid's yaya. So we're Italian, but it's like their Greek grandma. Came over to me one day and was like, CHELSA, I went to the doctor, and she's like one of those nervous types of people. She's like, they found a mass behind my eye, and they want to do radiation. They want to do all this stuff. You know, I have to go back in 2 weeks. What can I do? What should I do? So I was like, listen, Yaya, just come to my house. Come to my house. Come every day if you can. Come to my house. Come sit in my system in my basement 2 hours a day. Let me tell you, she did that. I mean, not every day, because let's face it, right? We get busy in life, but almost every day she came to my house, but she only lives two doors away. And for 2 weeks, within 2 weeks, she went back to the doctor, and that mass was completely gone. So she never had to do any radiation. She never had to take any medication. And it was funny because the doctor literally said, oh, I don't know. I don't know where it went. I'm not sure what happened here. Maybe we were wrong. Like they couldn't explain like what happened to this mass that she had behind her eye. And I'm like, don't even bother. Don't worry. You're good. So we don't need to even try to, explain it to the doctors and explain what happened. And she just, from that point forward, that anytime, any little thing happened, she'd be like coming to my house right away. Like, can I come sit in your basement? So that's definitely one of my favorites, and what definitely inspired me when, like Dr. Sandra mentioned, she had an interview with Jason Shirka and people started hearing more about it. And I had so many people coming into my home. My husband's like, CHELSA, who are all these people in our house? Why are people in our house all day long? What's going on here? So that's when I said, I need to get like a public space at this point. And my brother lives in Florida. My parents are from Florida. And that's why I decided to end up, opening a center in Boca Raton in Florida, was because eventually my family will all be moving down. So this is kind of my getting into Florida is, let's just open up a center. Let's see what happens. And now I'm like, all right, babe, we need to move. We're busy. We got to go now.
And it's a big, beautiful center, right?
I love it.
Were
Yeah.
you were
I
at
was there twice already. I was there last year and then this past December as well.
Yeah.
So I love it. And the energy, like when I say you meet the most wonderful people, because it's like-minded people, it's people that are like us, right?
Mhm.
I could say that on this type of podcast or video, because usually I'm like the black sheep of the family. They're like, oh, what's she doing now? Like, what is this weird thing? But you guys get it. You get it, right? You lead your life with love, light, God, good. All that's created is beautiful. So when these people come to your center, it's like you feel like you've just met your long lost cousin, your brother, your sister, your starseed, your family. It's like instantly everyone's family. And I run the center with my family. My brother's my business partner. My sister is our receptionist who answers the phones. Like it's always been family owned, family run. And the people that come in are just instantly like part of the family, which is definitely my favorite part. And then like you were saying with Concetta, I mean, the results that like we hear, I mean, it's literally almost on a daily that someone will say, I'm sleeping better. Headaches are gone. Pain is gone. The stress, anxiety. I know someone asked something about autism. So many studies about just helping the functioning of the brain.
Mhm.
Because like Dr. Sandra mentioned, when your body has the proper energy it needs, it could go into a healing phase, right? And that's why she always recommends at least 2 hours in the system, because that first hour, your body's just kind of getting, acquainted to the energy and the frequency, and you're getting into that theta, that delta state of relaxation. And then that second hour is like really between that first to second hour is where the magic starts happening, that people start seeing these major differences because now their body is in such a relaxed state. It's now ready for the healing process to start. So I always tell people the system's not healing you. It's you're healing yourself.
Yes.
You just have that energy that your body needs. Now it can go ahead and start healing, right? Just like when you're sick, and what does your body want to do? It wants to sleep. It wants to sleep so it can heal. So that's how I look at the system, is that it's just putting your body in such that relaxed, calm state that now the healing can start.
And I also heard that people could actually spend the night at these centers, right?
Oh, absolutely. They love it.
They do?
There's nothing like sleeping in that frequency. I'm going to tell you right now, that was one of my biggest things I did when I was sick and I had it in my house. I think I spent, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many nights sleeping in it, but they're like a different person when they leave. Total different person. Because now it's 10 hours of this energy, this high frequency that's being absorbed in your body, and your body just, it knows what to do with it. The energy goes where it's needed. So for me, when I'm in the system, I'll feel it in my digestive system, right? Because that's where I used to have my troubles. Like you could feel it. People will say that they feel it on their body parts of whatever they're struggling. So it's like a tangible energy as well, besides spiritually as too.
Well, that's nice to know. And so forget about doing ice baths and red light therapy. Go to your nearest EE system center and, get the real deal here. Tell us exactly, CHELSA, where your center is located. Can you give an address?
Sure. It's 200 West Palmetto Park Road, and that's in Boca Raton, Florida. So we have it's Suite 204 is where the EE system is, and then we ended up expanding and opened up an IV lounge right next door in the same complex. So we're Suites 202 and 204 now. So we're kind of like we just want everything holistic, everything all natural, and be able to bring that, to the local community. And I don't know if Concetta could talk, but I know where Concetta is located. So Concetta is located in Naples. Give me a
You want to
second.
know her address as well for those that are closer to Naples?
Yes. Oh, there you are, Concetta. I was like, I know I was going to grab your address in Naples.
Thank you. That's what I was actually just going to do.
It's 7935 Airport Pulling Road, Suite 205 in Naples, Florida.
Wonderful.
And here on Long Island, I am in Smithtown.
Yes. Can you give us that address for those that are in New York?
I usually disclose the address upon booking because it is
Okay.
in my home.
Okay. That is true. I forgot about that.
Yes.
That is true. I do remember.
Not a public center.
Yes. But you could go to her website. So
Mhm.
do you want to tell me your website, Concetta? So that way they can get your
Well,
info.
If you could actually type it in the comment section, that'd be great.
So I don't think Dr. Sandra and I have a chat. Let's see. Oh, wait, we do. Hold on. Yep, I think we do.
Yeah, it should be on your right.
Let's
Yeah.
see.
Hi, Sylvia Vidal. She just said hi, Ishmael.
It just says private chat. How do I write something public?
Yeah.
You have to. There's an option or a feature where you switch it from private to public. Here, let me see if I can do that.
Yeah.
So, well, my website's theenergyroom.org. So that's kind of easy. Oh, wait. Let's see.
You
I
see
will
it?
type it in when I can get it, but I am.
I can see it, but it just says I can only chat privately.
Yeah,
Oh,
me
okay.
too. I am Divine Alignment, NYFL.com.
So you guys are unable to read the chat? They're giving you guys a lot
I
of
can
love.
read the chat. I can only type to you guys.
Oh, I see. I see. How do I
Yeah.
disable that feature so you guys could type to the audience? Everybody that knows me, I am not tech savvy, so I'm learning as I go here, guys.
I'm lucky I even got on here. Forget about
That is a very
typing.
true statement for my friend.
Let's see.
Silver knows.
Considering when we started, she was upside down, but she's good now.
I was upside down.
I like that website name, Divine Alignment NYFL, so New York and Florida.
New York, Florida. I feel, I mean, .com, yeah. In my opinion, and in my findings, to me, the system brings you back to your divine alignment, to your original divine blueprint. I joke with one of my clients. She always says, "This is factory setting."
Mm-hmm.
Brings you back to factory
I
setting,
love that.
right? But I thought divine alignment was the perfect description for what I witness day after day.
Yeah. Yeah. And you talked, CHELSA, is good. You talked about, sleeping in it. That's where the magic is. It's really in sleeping in it. So prior to that interview, what was the revolution of healing, and then the movie is Healing Humanity Beyond the Speed of Light. But the first one was the revolution of healing and moving beyond medbed technology, right? Because this is way beyond medbed technology because, it's not one person at a time and it's working with the planet and the environment as far as the null zone effect, the nullification of detrimental and destructive fields goes out 2.2 miles because we need healthy communion. The hyper healthy energy is in the system, but otherwise there's a collapsing or nullification, neutralization of detrimental fields by putting it in coherence. So it's taking that detrimental field effects of all that radiation, because I know radiation literally from the inside out, and I came in, how do we heal this? So it takes the radiation and puts it into healthy, coherent, radiant health, radiant, healthy. It's the energy we would have on an ideal planet. an ideal energetic environment that we would have. But to repair, rejuvenate, regenerate, you've got to go to the delta and theta brain stage, which is sleep states. So before that came out with, and the shift hit the fan, literally was, you had 70,000 emails in the first 24 hours. So you guys were in place to catch all that. With that shift hitting everywhere, and people showing up at your doorsteps, literally, probably, but
Literally.
yeah, it was crazy. Before that, 90% of our systems, thousands of in private homes all over the world, around the bed. Now, both of you, all of you probably know how powerful it is around to sleep in it and around the bed. But the women drag their husbands in. After that, it's the husband that's getting in it, right? Because of the effects for men. It gets their attention. We'll just call it that way.
Are you saying that it helps with men who suffer from ED?
I mean, I'll give you one miracle story. It's, one miracle story. There's so many we could talk about, and lots of stories in that regard. But we had a gentleman who was a professor at University of Hawaii, and he had prostate cancer, had the prostate removed. He was just collapsing in his food, just you couldn't make it through dinner even without just falling asleep. And so he started going to the center with Dr. Shintani, in Honolulu, as he has his centers. He has 3 centers actually in Honolulu. Dr. Terry Shintani, who's a famous professor of complementary alternative medicine, Harvard, MD, JD, MPH, all that stuff, impeccable credentials. So he's using the system there, and he's doing so much better. He has so much energy. He's back out playing golf. He couldn't do that. He's doing all these things. Well, he put 4 units around his bed. Now realize he's had prostate cancer, the prostate removed, right? The wife confided in me, said, I wondered why he was like so excited and he was just so excited, but the wife said, my husband has full sexual function back. Probably medically impossible, but everything wants to work perfectly. But that's literally raising the dead.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Dr. Sandra, I see some people asking about, can you explain what's actually the frequency that's being emitted out of the screens? So they're asking, what is this frequency? What is this energy?
There is a predominance of the grounding energies, earthing or grounding, your Schumann resonance. There's a predominance of the rainforest energies, but it's not specific frequencies. It's spanning a full spectrum of energies, because it's scalar, which is frequencies are 3rd dimensional. Scalar is non-linear, non-Hertzian, 5th dimensional. Everybody talks about we're going to go 5D. Well, that's where past, present, future is all simultaneous. So people have all kinds of experiences and memories because it's transdimensional. But it's 5D. It's non-linear, non-Hertzian, 5th dimensional, standing columnar waves beyond relative time and space. There's your technical definition. But it's very important to realize that. It's a scalar vortex. And that's what, the big secret of the universe. Anybody's ever seen the movie Thrive? It talks about the secret of the universe being the scalar vortex and that hologram of that vortex. And that really is the big secret. This is a suppressed science, the suppressed technology, the suppressed science.
Absolutely.
And how that interfaces with the body. Our chakras are all scalar vortexes. Yeah. So Mel Carmine was going, I got my chakras tested and I was 98% aligned. Now he's the New York pizza guy, okay? Mel Carmine, you've met him.
Yeah, I have.
He said he's so excited because he says, I have the proof now. It was done, I think, with Dr. Karatkov's, Dr. Konstantin Karatkov. That's what you see here is these biograms, which shows the energy, but it was done with his, which has a 98% accuracy as a medical diagnostic. But it actually showed that his chakras were all aligned. We've done many studies that way, but he is so excited. But because the chakras, so it's reminding the body of its original divine design. and how it's originally designed, without all the distortion where we've been pulled so out of alignment, stressed out by all these stressors, 24/7 being bombarded with detrimental, destructive fields. And what to mention all the toxins in the air, the food, the water, etc. So, and this is like gives the body the energy then to respond appropriately to all the stressors, gives the body the energy to heal. But it's going to remind the body of its original divine design.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, we are aware that in Atlantean times, they used a form of crystal technology to power up their cities. And then, of course, we do know that the pyramid itself was a power generator, right?
Scalar vortex.
Scalar vortex, exactly. So,
yeah.
Is there any connection?
Dr. Fred Bell, Pyridine. He was the original one on talking about, we were very, very good friends, close friends. But the pyramid is a scalar generator. It's an energy vortex generator, and it had a lot of purpose. So, this is very much that.
So some of the people in the chat are asking, is there any difference? And I'm sure there is, or maybe perhaps they could even enhance their crystals through the energy system.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. You bring anything into the system that's going to be scalar enhanced. It's going to help it fulfill its highest purpose, highest potential of what it could be doing. With the medallions and bracelets, like she had mentioned, the rose quartz, I happen to have one here. With the medallions bracelets, we hypercharge it, takes another full quantum. But anything you take into the technology, whether it's your supplements, we just did some testing with Dr. Glenn Ryan, who's the Stanford Harvard biophysicist, just did some testing with Dr. Ed Group and his formulas. Maybe you've heard of him. He's awesome. Originally met him like 20 years ago, but he's been really doing his homework well. So we just did some testing. He wanted to find what would happen with his formulas, not being hypercharged like we do with the medallions and bracelets. I mean, like I said, that takes it another quantum. We hear about the miracles with the bracelets. I mean, I know you guys could talk all about that, like CHELSA did. Crazy miracles, radical miracles. You could walk again. And we hear all those things all the time. But okay, so he wanted to know just putting his formulas into the system without hypercharging it. They found a 40 to 70% improvement in the energy efficiency, energy effectiveness, the coherence, the conductivity, because scalar is superconductivity, superluminal. It moves at superluminal velocity, so it's going to which means beyond the speed of light. The testing, when we shipped things over to the labs with Dr. Glenn Ryan, he did the testing, he found a 40 to 70% improvement in the supplements. Now, we've seen that over and over. We work with a company called Clarity and have the Calibrate. This is a product that's hypercharged as well to bring the energy through the cells so that we have hyper health energy from within, to help the body with the detox and things like that. So Dr. Ed Group has ordered a system, and we'll be doing a program together with him at Patriot Street Fighters' new center in Dallas. Terra Quantum.
Opened a center as well, Patriot Street Fighter?
He's already opened that center. It's called Terra Quantum. Really? Recharge.com, Terra Quantum Recharge. If you go there, you can get a virtual tour. He's got 48 unit system, and it's right by 10 minutes from DFW Airport. And so we'll be doing a program there right after the weekend after. We'll be in LA for the Conscious Life Expo. That following weekend, I'll be in Dallas with Scott McKay, Patriot Street Fighter. And he works with Dr. Guerrero there, who's a phenomenal Stanford medically trained doctor. Is phenomenal. And so we'll be doing a program there with Dr. Ed Group and I think Dr. Henry Ely. And maybe some of you have seen The Antidote. If you see The Antidote that was put out, it was filmed, that's with The Antidote to the Jab and stuff, The Antidote. What's the doctor's name?
Artists.
No, Dr. Brian Artis. He'll be joining us there too. Dr. Brian Artis. But if people have not seen The Antidote, that is vital for people to share. You know, that video called The Antidote, and all the research and documentation. It's a brilliant interview that Jason Shirka did. So it's on Unified, UNIFYD. You know, we have to come together. That's what Unified Healing is about. That came out after that interview. We have to be the combined unified presence that heals the world. It's all been divide and conquer. So we need to be the greater community. So that's what that's about. But I'd highly recommend people watch that. So it'll be right after we're together, though, in LA at the Conscious Life Expo, where we'll also have the technology there with a room for people that want to experience it there. So lots of exciting. January 21st is when we'll be with Mel Carmine at Staying Alive. Staying Alive with 2 I's. Staying Alive, ALIIVE, I think .com for him. But anyway, that event in Florida will be a lot of fun. So I hope to see you, CHELSA, on the way there, because I'll be in Miami this coming with Layla Sentner and Sentner Wellness Center. Doing her grand opening in Miami on Brickell. It's called the SentnerWellness.com is her website, Sentner Wellness Center. She has 40 units in one room, 24 in another, and she has 8 cubes. And then she has 32 unit system at home. And it's another one of those stories where, you know, the reason she started the center, the reason she started is one of her best friends, associates, was sent home to die with stage 4 breast stuff. You know, that C word that's not so nice.
And thank you for being, you know, incognito about that. I'm been so fortunate and lucky enough to not get censored or a strike. I mean, I'm sure I'm being censored, but I'm very careful with the words that I use.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you. Yeah, of course. That's of course a disease that was, I believe, was caused by the powers that were. Would you agree?
Powers that were is my term too. I like that. The powers that have been, there has been.
So, Dr. Sandra, one last thing that I want to.
Total reversal of, you know, and they told us that there's nothing more you can do less than a month to live. And she was in that 32 unit system, as was Carrie Madej. Dr. Carrie Madej, after her plane crash, also used Layla's Center's system in Miami. So I'll be with her the 11th to 13th this month. I mean, coming right up. I fly there soon.
I just wanted to let everybody know, people are asking me about my website. I don't have a functioning website at this time. It's not up and running yet. As soon as I get my new website up and running, I will go ahead and let everyone know. Just let you guys know I am going through a transition when it comes to this website. I took down my old website, and as soon as my new one is up, I will go ahead and announce it, just to let you guys know, because some people are asking me about my website. And another thing I wanted to confirm here with our audience, Doctor, if possible, is can you validate the fact that the Y hats are very real?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And God wins. And that's where we're at. I listened to an interesting interview just with Pascal Najaji out of Switzerland yesterday. And saying basically it's done. It's done. And they're done, that they're not going to be able to hurt people anymore, is what he was putting out. Pascal out of Switzerland, his father was one of the founders of World Economic Forum with Klaus Schwab, but didn't like the direction that Klaus Schwab wanted to go. And but now Pascal, he's been part of military and stuff, and he got the jab. His mother also, and serious issues for it. And so he's exposing everything, bringing everything out as a white hat. So he's one of the serious ones. I was just on with one of them this morning and talking about everything that's in place for beyond more than 1,100 wellness centers for our veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much going on behind the scenes. We can talk about how much energy, gold, etc., tons gold that's moving,
Mm-hmm.
And ready for the humanitarian projects, and it's all real, very, very real. The new U.S. Treasury notes are actually in the banks. Just saw I guess that before this call, we were just on about that with the Hawaii Privy Council, because Hawaii, that was a hostile, illegal military occupation,
Mm-hmm.
sovereign nation. And so they're ready to go back to being the kingdom of Hawaii, sacred islands and all that. But so the shift is happening. The shift has hit the fan of accelerated evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Energy enhancement, you call it the EE system. It stands for energy enhancement. It also stands for accelerated evolution. And the shift has hit the fan of accelerated evolution. And it's shift or get off the planet for these people.
It's about time. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of arrests going on behind the scenes. That much we do know as well.
Well, that explains why all of a sudden we're not hearing about the CLINTONS people and the OBAMAS. I think all of a
Bummer.
sudden, yeah, they're not around.
Oh, bummers. No, a lot's being exposed and disclosed with the Epstein list.
Yeah.
Just exposure, disclosure, the light that is being shined on the darkness. So they can't hide. It's all coming up. It's all being exposed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's about time.
Justice finally served for humanity on the earth. And then one last time before we exit, give us your website, CHELSA, as well as your website, Concetta, please.
Sure. So the Energy Room, it's in Boca Raton, Florida, and it's theenergyroom.org. So it's .org.
Yeah, the Energy Room. It's beautiful. I'm so excited that you've expanded. It was big and beautiful when I was there. I was literally, lines, hundreds of people showed up when I was there. It was like,
because you're famous, girl.
Oh my gosh, it was like hours of it was fabulous though. But I lost my voice after that. I was at the Conscious Life Expo to be a speaker, and I was a speaker that couldn't speak after.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm sure you're going to knock it out of the ballpark this time next month at the Conscious Life Expo.
Yeah, my daughter had to speak for me. I could kind of whisper into that.
And in talking about the Conscious Life Expo, I'm going to be speaking Saturday morning from 10 to 11:30. I'm going to be speaking in the room called the Rabbit Hole. Can you just remind us where you're going to be speaking and what day?
Down that rabbit hole too.
Oh, so you're also in the rabbit hole. And when do you speak? What day?
I posted it. I think it's Saturday, but I'm also on panel on Sunday.
Okay.
We'll have the technology in a room to itself where people can come and experience it. And we'll have a bunch of our system owners. But that room will be available through the whole show.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I can't wait to see you there in person again. Give you a big hug because you are a modern day Tesla. You know that, right?
I have been called that.
Nikola Tesla, the female version of Nikola Tesla. How's that? Now, Concetta, give us your website once again for the audience.
I am Divine Alignment, NYFL.com. And I am in Naples, Florida, and here in Smithtown on Long Island in New York.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I'm so happy about this because I have not gotten to see these two in person in like a year or something. It's been forever. So
I haven't seen you. Yeah, probably maybe less, like 8 months, 9 months.
Yeah. Well,
oh no, I think you're right. December when we went to the gala. Yeah, a year. Crazy.
It's crazy.
The gala. What is the gala?
One of our mutual friends hosts this holiday gala
Another
every December.
Jeffrey Lewis. He's a sister.
Yes.
Yes. Verona and what's the other one in New Jersey?
I can't think. In Jersey as well.
Yeah. Anyway,
I
Jeffrey.
Can't remember.
He had a big gala, and that's where I saw you last. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doctor, we
And
do have one
birthday.
question. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say that again.
No, I said, and Sandra's birthday. That was the last time I saw you, right after.
Right.
Well, I feel great to have brought you three together again.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Chanel.
Yeah, you're welcome. Even if it's on a audio live chat, here we are. But there is one question from the audience, Doctor. If you could address it, please. She's asking any treatment suggestions and detox. Is there any treatment suggestions and detox of her products for stiff persons? SIND.
Stiff person syndrome. Yeah.
Okay. My 24-year-old niece diagnosed with this and very sad and below. Maybe protocol. Any protocol? Maybe protocol by her. Thanks, I guess.
Yeah. No, the power that made the body heals the body. This is like plugging the body back into the cosmic light socket. But then I like how you mentioned about the detox, because that's critical. When the body has the charge, it's literally charging up the cells like a human battery charger. Like a wireless human battery charger, like you recharge your cell phone, but you're raising the millivoltage, the cell membrane potential of every cell of the body. When the body has that charge, then it wants to discharge everything that ever created dis-ease in the first place. All those heavy metals and radiation, radiolytic isotopes, all the PCBs and all these, the other things that people have injected, all these things, the body wants to discharge everything that ever created dis-ease. So world's easiest detox, you get in the system, you drink a lot of water, make sure the bowels are moving, but drink a lot of water. Trace minerals, your electrolytes, that also helps with the charge in the body. And then do the salt bath. It's 2 cups, a pound of salt is the minimum one. You can get your salt formulas from the different centers, like you guys make that available. The easy one is 2 cups salt, 2 cups baking soda. And then I'm also recommending a cup of 20 mule team borax, and that's salt. It's not Epsom salt, it's sea salt, because the skin is the largest organ of elimination. Hot salt bath is like doing what a fever would do without having to use the body's energy to do it. It's that hyperthermia, which pumps up the immune system, but opens up the pores, opens up the capillaries. And the body's going to be, after being in the system, the body's trying to push toxins out of every nook and cranny it can get it out of. And so you open up the pores and capillaries, and the salt pulls it like a magnet. The toxins are a positive charge, the salt's a negative charge, pulls it like a magnet. It's amazing what you see in that water after a bath. I mean, CHELSA, you know this one.
I know.
Sometimes it's black, sometimes it's green, sometimes it's yellow. Sometimes if you take a black light to it, you can see. Have you done that? Take a black light to it, and you can
No.
see
I
that
don't want to know.
bioluminescent parasites and things moving, and oh my gosh. But yeah, better get that stuff out. That's the world's fastest, easiest detox. And that's back to the Atlantean thing of those baths with the crystals and all that stuff. Well, salt's a crystal too, And so that's, you want to do that detox bath. And then also you can't expect to get hyper healthy if you're still poisoning yourself. So organic. Life comes from life, more greens, more live food, all that kind of thing. And nobody has been drugged to health yet. So keep that in mind. The whole industry is a little backwards that way. You have to focus on what creates health and get super healthy. If you get super healthy, there's no more dis-ease. And a lot of it is clearing that disruptive pattern, but also rebooting the body like you did, CHELSA, from the autoimmune, self-destructive body got like stuck in a unhealthy self-destructive mode of reacting, stuck in a reactive patterning rather than responding appropriately to all the stressors and all the toxins and giving the body the energy to cope with it and deal with it in a healthy way.
Thank you for answering that. And then we have another question from Shakina Glory, 1111. Dr. Rouse Michael, what is the difference to golden healing centers with quantum healing devices?
I don't know. More power to everybody. We need all the healing we can get. My technology was designed to bring any and every other healing modality on the planet to the highest potential, because we've got a whole planet to turn around. So golden light sounds good to me. I relate to that.
Okay.
But this is very different in that it's not one person at a time. It's, and it's working with the grids within the planet, around the planet. It's very Arcturian that way. She mentioned the Arcturus thing. We're working with, the fields of consciousness. That's simply offering those fields of alignment, a choice, rather than being 24/7 imposed with detrimental, destructive, under attack. Rather than being under attack, body can breathe and go aloha, and you got to keep the love, let go of everything else. Aloha, that oneness with that breath, the whole body, like you can breathe, relax, and relax back into its original divine nature that way.
As made in the image of God. Absolutely.
Every system is a point on the new Earth grid.
Oh,
I love
that is
that.
so
Every system.
true.
Yeah.
So hopefully very soon the system will be dotting the world everywhere, like million centers, millions of centers.
There's plans for that. The plans have been all approved and read, and they're not even waiting for the RV or anything. They're ready to rock and roll. But there's 400, pushing 500 centers around the world right now. Yeah, because the word was initially it had to go out through private homes, so it couldn't be stopped. Mostly, predominantly private homes. We were doing the research, doing the homework, laying the foundations with the grid. It's doing all that, because they said when it goes out, it has to be everywhere fast. And that's what happened with Jason Shirka, but it was really the light system, TLS, the light workers behind that. That's your white hats. They're like your special ops of divine intervention, special forces.
And we have one more question. How much does it cost a session with Dr. Sandra Rose machine? What? Wait, hold on. How much does a session cost of Dr. Sandra Rose machine?
You two can answer that, because it's totally independent of us. What each center is their own.
$60 an hour.
What?
$10?
It's approximately $60 an hour.
Okay, that's fair.
Give or take.
And then there's packages that
And right.
Or people do specials of 2 for 1, or they do specials for our veterans.
Yes.
Things like that, or first responders, or kids. I think you've always kind of let kids in.
My children are always free.
Yeah. Same.
Children and pets are always free.
And pets, yeah, they just get it. They love it.
They love it.
You've literally seen, I don't know if you saw one of the videos. Somebody showed me the video on their phone of their dog that was said, that you're going to have to put him down. There was no healing for it. I mean, it's dragging both legs. And after being in the system, the dog's walking and running. And
I love it.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wonderful. So this system is pretty much the beginning of medbed technology. Would you agree?
It's beyond.
It's beyond
that, because it's not. I said, how do we heal the world? You can't do it one-on-one, practitioner dependent. You're going to line up 6 billion people for technology that's going to be brought out of the wrong hands, and that's not available. This is anything and everything they talk about with the med beds we've been seeing and doing, and you name it, we have seen it.
Well, we're heading there. We're almost there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the express technology, though. It is, it is coming from that. But those are, very. Those have been. They're not doing the planet. One person at a time, practitioner dependent. I said, okay, God, how do we heal the world? Yeah, and you can wait on the med beds, but that's going to be a long line. versus the centers are ready and available now, and it just give the body time. But it's also about getting the message from your higher self, or getting the message from God. Let yourself know what God wants you to know, the knowing of which allows all things to heal and clear as issues in your body or your life or your relationships or for the whole world now. What if you could know, as soon as you know what your higher self wants you to know, no more need for the symptoms. As soon as you're present with anything and everything with love, it all heals. Because the only way anything ever got stuck in the body was that fear reaction. Fear and God can't share the same space. But the fear reaction, the holding of the breath, that's what damned the flow. And taking things so damn serious, damn the flow, damn the circuits. So you can breathe. Keep the love, let go of everything else, and relax into a new place of peace and power and oneness with that breath, the sacred breath of life. God breathed the breath of life into man, and we're in this free will zone. It's up to us to keep breathing and connecting consciously to that source of all power, all light, and all love, or not.
I love that. Now, one last question. How much is it to buy an EE system?
Everything from 15, the medallions are very, very cost effective and very, very effective. And so you can get those, online at eesystem.com or go to your local centers and get those. And that's, and you can grid your bed. That's the next best thing to having a system around your bed. But the EE cubes, which there's an interview coming out with Robert F. Kennedy and with Jason Shirka, that's coming out January 15th. He has the cube and he's talking about the healing centers for children, for addictions and things like that. So that's coming out. So the cube, the EE cube, is the baby system that's more portable, and it's 4 units internally aligned to each other to create the phase conjugate, wave pairs in the vortex and all that. And it's a photon fountain. The cube is 15,000. That's including all the shipping and everything. And then the systems go up to a 24 unit, it's 125,000 shipped and installed. But there is a discount if people join Unified Healing as well. You're part of Unified Healing, both of you, right? Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Well, Doctor, once again, it was a great honor and pleasure to have you here. And also, CHELSA and Concetta, thank you so much, my sisters, for being here as well.
Thank you for having us.
Mm-hmm.
My pleasure. And I want to extend gratitude to both of you for giving me the opportunity to hold events at your places. Thank you again so much from the bottom of my heart.
Our pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm sure more of our centers will be happy to host you as well. Like the 24th, I'll be back with Dr. Dream. Is going to be at the Las Vegas Holistic Center. Here in Las Vegas holisticcenter.com is there with Dr. Stella. But Dr. Dream, he had a double stroke, could not stand up, could not walk, couldn't stand after his double stroke. And after 2 hours in the system, he walked totally unassisted, 100 feet each direction. We just did an interview with him with Mel Carmine last night, and I'm sharing his story, but he'll be joining us with his, he has a tour of love with all the Tibetan bowls, and people can also join that online. I'll be there for the online experience with Dr. Dream and his wife, Stephanie, and that'll be at Las Vegas Holistic Center. And that's, that's January 24th. I had to think of the date. It's Wednesday, January 24th. I'm flying back in time for that after being at Mel Carmine's in Cape Canaveral.
Sounds great. Doctor, thank you so much for blessing us with your amazing knowledge. And again, Concetta and CHELSA, it is an honor to have you both here on the chat as well. And and I also want to welcome 481 Galactic Jedis that are in the house. Thank you so much for joining us. And for all of those that are going to watch the replay, thank you so much. And may the God Force be with you all.
Yeah.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.